What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the World Wide Wonder Web? My name's Pursuit, and welcome to today's episode of The Pursuit of Happiness. Today, I'm bringing you guys a story about the time that I bought my first cart. Now, this was an interesting story. I think it's pretty funny. So stick around and wait till you hear the whole event. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, this happened during my freshman year. That's when I started smoking. I was 14. So the way that I met the guy who I bought the cart from is hilarious in my mind because it was so cliche. It was like straight out of a fucking movie, like, like the fucking teenage drug dealer. But anyways, we'll get to that. So I took ROTC. That's like the class that everyone makes jokes about, like the people who protect from school shooters and shit. They probably have rifles that they spin. I was a big spinner. But yeah, the military class, right? So I was in ROTC and I had an ROTC advisory. And the thing is with ROTC advisories is that it's a mix of all grades. It's not just freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. It's like everyone. So I was in a class with juniors, sophomores, seniors, other freshmen, of course. And, I come on my first day, start meeting people, sit down. And when I sat down, to my right, there was this guy. We'll call him Drew. So Drew was a senior, and I knew him because he played for my 8th grade jazz band the previous year that I was in, because I play bass. I still do, but I played bass in jazz band back in the day. So I knew him from there. So I was like, "Oh, aren't you this guy that fucking played with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, probably." And I was like, "Damn, that's pretty cool." And that was basically it for like the first day. I talked to a couple other people surrounding me. Nothing big, nothing too big. Made a couple new friends. It's always important to have new friends when you start high school and shit. It can be a little scary for some people. But anyways, so day 3 comes around, right? We'll skip day 2, nothing happened. Day 3 comes around, and I sit down in my chair. And as soon as I do, Drew looks up, and he goes, "Hey, you smoke?" And I was like cigarettes? Because I had no fucking clue what the terminology was. So anyways, he was like, "Hey, you smoke?" And I was like cigarettes, right? And he's like, "No, fucking weed, you retard. Who smokes cigarettes? 21st century, am I right?" So anyways, I was like, no. He's like, "You want to?" And I was like, to be honest, I don't really know about that. Because I honestly, I went into high school with the thought of, I'll be okay if I smoke weed. That's a drug I'll allow myself to do. I'll try not to vape, which look how that turned out for me. But I was okay with smoking weed. But at the time, this was like 3 days into my fucking freshman year. So I was like, "Nah, B, we're chilling." So then the rest of the year continues to go on, right? And I start growing closer to Andrew. We always played Bloons Tower Defense on our fucking phones. It was crazy. But yeah, so we always played Bloons Tower Defense on our phones and shit. And we'd always talk. And I one time I made him this plaque that said, I'm an official drug addict or some shit. And he hung it up in his room. It was pretty funny. I think he was just looking for a good friend. I think he was a lonely kid, honestly, but so he took me under his wing like that. Then we eventually would hang out later, but that's another story. So anyways, the time that I actually ended up buying the cart was in March of my freshman year. So he brought it up again, or no, he didn't bring it up. I brought it up to him. And I was like, "Hey man, you got any carts you can give me?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got you, bro." So he's like, "It'll be $40 for a battery and a cart." And at the time, I thought that was a complete scam because I was like, $40, Jesus. But now in hindsight, I actually got a really good fucking deal. But wait till you hear what the cart was. So, that's that. And so then I say I'll bring the money the next day and he'll bring the cart and shit. And so go to school the next day, go to advisory, place my backpack down, and I dap him up, and I'm like, out loud, I'm like, hey, thanks for buying me that Xbox game last night. He's like, no problem, I got you, bro. And then he just puts it in my backpack. Now, the rest of that day was the scariest day of my freshman fucking year, because I was worried that there was just going to be a fucking DEA agent for no reason. You know, they're going to bring out thousands of dogs and shit. But no, it's not how it happened. We had Paul Blart sitting in the fucking corner eating his donut, right? And school cops are a fucking joke. But yeah, so that day tweaked me out, but eventually I made it home, and I just stuck it in my nightstand. Or no, I didn't stick it in my nightstand. I was going to, but then I remembered that I have a book safe that I made, which is basically just a hollowed out book. So I put it in there. And then I put it on my bookshelf, and I kind of forgot about it, honestly. I didn't smoke it for a long time until 420 came around, and that was the first day that I smoked weed, and I didn't get high because I didn't smoke it right. And the way I did it was I did it like just like a cigar, where you don't inhale it. You know, you just take it in your mouth. And the embarrassing thing is that I did this for a while. Like, I did that for like 2 weeks, and I just rarely smoke it. Like, I did it like 2 or 3 times a week for 2 weeks, just doing it like that. And I was like, this shit's weak as fuck. Like, it's not, like, this isn't pleasant, but I mean, I'll smoke it anyways. But eventually I found out how you're actually supposed to smoke it, and you're supposed to inhale the smoke. Who would have thought, right? And then my world changed. Then I fell in love with Mary J, bro. Then I fell in love with Mary J, bro. I looked her right in the eyes, and I was just one and done, man. And that's where my love started. My love for weed. Now, I always get a kick out of that story because I think it's funny how cliche Drew was when he asked me if I wanted to buy weed, because it was literally like out of those scenarios that they talk to you about in middle school, where it's like, oh yeah, the guy's gonna fucking, you know, whip open his trench coat and it's gonna be laced with cocaine or whatever. But nah, this actually happened, so it's crazy to me. But if you watched the whole story, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Any view that I get is always appreciated. And if you enjoyed it and are looking to find some more stories and watch some more cool and retarded content, subscribe, because I got a lot of projects coming your way, especially like with my new Bong Water series. I think that shit's funny as shit. Any recommendations for that, put in the comments of any of those videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. Peace.